Hey everybody, this is Amish Paradise 88 here. I just finished playing Wolfenstein: The New Order, actually about 2 days ago or so. Um, I just wanted to do a little bit of a review about it. The gameplay actually wasn't as bad as some of the other reviews I had read. I wasn't expecting it to be the greatest, but the gameplay actually came out pretty okay. Um, the storyline actually is pretty good. I love the storyline. I was even my wife, who's not really into these kind of games, I was telling her about it, and she even said that she thought it was quite interesting. It kept me wanting to go on further and further into the game to see what was happening. I didn't like being left behind, as in not knowing what was going to happen next. Now the gameplay you're seeing here, this is actually this is the guy right before the very last guy. You beat this guy going to the last guy. Um, I don't have all of that gameplay. I have me when I beat this guy, and I have part of me playing the very last boss, but you don't get to see all of that. Um, I was focusing more on the review of the game itself. Um, the game in general, if I had to rate it between a 1 and a 10, 1 being worst, 10 being best, I'd probably put this game somewhere around, probably around an 8, 8.5. Not the best game I played, definitely not the worst game. I will admit the replay value on it, unless you're one of those people who like to try something and play it again and for it to be harder than last time you played it, to me, this game just doesn't have a high replay value unless you're one of those type of people. No multiplayer functions, so you can't get online and play with any buddies. What would have been awesome was if they would have put co-op in here, and if it's a little bit more of an open world style. The worlds are set up where basically you go in, you do get to roam around, you can just about go anywhere in the level that you want, but you are stuck with being in that level. You can't go anywhere else. So it's not a full open world setup, not a full style like that. But multiplayer would have definitely been pretty sweet, regardless if it was co-op, competitive. It wouldn't matter. Just something that way you're not doing the same exact thing. Now, the guy that you see me facing, just want to point this out. I kind of sucked fighting him, as you can see. I kept on almost dying. It's because I couldn't figure out how to beat him, and I ended up figuring out after, I don't know, a good chunk of this is me fighting this guy. Excuse me. Just took forever to figure out how simple he really is to beat. All you gotta do is throw a Tesla grenade, catch him off guard, and it kind of brings him down to a knee. You run up and you talk to him, because I chose Fergus to live, and it's actually Fergus's brain inside of there causing him to actually operate. So he's actually really easy. He's not hard by any means. I just took me forever to figure out how to beat him. So yeah, I kind of sucked at the game. But anyways, back to the review. my my overall thought of it was the gameplay. I would probably have to give, I don't know, a 9. The gameplay was smooth. I ran into a problem once where I would push forward on my stick to move forward, and my guy would not move, and then all of a sudden he would start running, and then I would turn really hard. I'd push to the right to turn right, and next thing I know is my guy's not turning. I keep on running, and then all of a sudden I turn and hit into a wall. I did have that problem once in the game. I had to run through about a 30-second spot of that. Luckily, there were no enemies around, but other than that, the gameplay was smooth. I didn't see any kind of glitching other than that one. It was very well put together. The controls are simple, unless you're me and I'm used to an Xbox controller. So a PlayStation controller to me is a little odd, but the controller setup was actually pretty well put together, especially if you're used to a PlayStation controller. The story, like I said, was amazing. I give the story a 10. It kept you wanting to go on, go on, go on. Definitely, I never got tired of the story. It was definitely very intriguing to me, and I couldn't wait to see how it ended. Now, the only thing I was kind of disappointed with the story was the ending. If you do not want to know how it ends, I recommend you skip the next, I don't know, just mute it for the next, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, say 40 seconds. Basically, you beat this guy. This guy in the mech suit is the final boss. When you beat him, he actually ends up blowing you up with a grenade. Basically, you don't die, but a warhead gets launched in, kills you, so you don't get to spend your life with the girl that you love. Really sucky ending. So I wasn't too happy about that. But back to the review. So the story was good, gameplay was good, replay value I'd probably give it a 7. Because like I said, I don't see much of a replay unless you're a person who likes to play a game through on New Game Plus modes or whatever in order to take and get those extra achievements, or unless you're really just looking for a game out there to play. I mean, it was actually a pretty decent first-person shooter. I wouldn't technically recommend buying it new. I would recommend buying it pre-owned. And for me to beat it, I bought it on the Tuesday it came out. I beat it Saturday. I don't have all the time in the world to take and sit down and just to play. I played a lot after work. Get off work, come home, play for 2 hours or so, and then be done. And might get a chance for a half hour, 45 minutes before work. All in all, I think it probably took me about 11 hours to beat the game. And seeing that there's no multiplayer aspect to it, just single player only, I think that's kind of short. I mean, you can't get a game like Mass Effect that's just 20 hours to beat, or The Witcher 3 that they're talking about 100 hours to beat. But I just think for no multiplayer, it could have been a little bit longer at least. All in all, though, not a terrible game. I would recommend playing it, but I'd definitely buy it pre-owned. Get a few bucks off on it, borrow from a friend, or sometimes I buy games from GameStop, pre-owned, play them for a week, beat it. I did that with Knack, put it that way. Bought Knack, played it, beat it in the week, took it back, got my money back, because that's another game I don't see as having a high replay value. But anyways, the game in general was a good game, and I really do recommend people to play it, especially I'm a person who I play video games very much for the stories. I get sucked into a story, and I don't care how bad the game is, I will continue to play it until I beat it, just to hear how the story ends. For example, Alan Wake. Alan Wake, a ton of people loved it. Personally, me, hated it. I wasn't into the game where you run around, you find a guy, you take and you shine a flashlight on him, and then all of a sudden, oh look, his little darkness shield's gone, I guess I'll shoot him now. It just got old after a while to me. But I beat the game. I would not give up at it because I just had to see how it ended. That story kept me going. It's the only reason I kept on playing that game. In this game, granted, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is anything like Alan Wake where I just didn't want to keep on playing it because I was so sick of the gameplay and so sick of the way it was put together. I really did enjoy it. I'm just saying it just had, to me, an amazing story. I know I've said that a lot, to me, just the story really did blow me away. The cutscenes are very well put together. They're all clean. They're no glitching. I didn't see any problems. The lip sync seemed pretty well in sync with the actual vocals, the audio. The graphics look good. To me, I'd have to say that that's another thing. The graphics actually were pretty decent. I know Wolfenstein goes back a long way. I remember playing it on Windows 3.1 back whenever everything was extremely pixelated. Speaking of that, real quick, you can actually play the original Wolfenstein game from Windows 3.1 in here. They give you your hands, and I don't think you have your gun. Your pistol, I think, is a different one. I think it's the one from the game. I don't remember. But the graphics are all the same. All the secret passages are the same if you ever played the originals. And it was actually kind of interesting. It's a nightmare that he has. You get to choose it whenever you're in the hideout. If you go all the way up to the top floor, you'll find a bed. and if you look at the bed, it'll say Nightmare, and whenever you choose it, you're actually playing Wolfenstein. And it's kind of interesting that they threw that in there. You know, uh, a little bit of reminiscing going on there. It was actually a pretty cool idea. I played it. I found somebody that posted it on YouTube. I thought it was kind of cool. I just had to give it a try. I played through it, and it's quite interesting going back that far and seeing where the game started out as. And as far as I actually believe it started off before that with something I believe it was called Return to Wolfenstein or something along those lines. But this game has been around for forever, Wolfenstein. I heard the last one, I believe it was Wolfenstein 3D, which came out for the 360 and PS3. I believe it was both systems at least. That one did not do all that great from what I heard. I asked a couple of people. I have very few people who I will ask about video games, very few people that I trust to give me an accurate read on whether or not I'd like a game. For the most part, the few people who I ask me, you know, we played a lot of similar games. Sometimes they gave me bad advice for what I would or wouldn't like. But they recommended me not get the last Wolfenstein, and from what I was hearing, that was actually a very good choice not to get it. But anyways, I hope that you guys found this review interesting. I found it helpful. I'm going to be doing more reviews. Watch Dogs coming out tomorrow. I'll be there for the mini release to pick it up, and I will definitely review that as soon as I can and be streaming gameplay.